So one of the questions I want to ask you, we talked a little briefly about the tasting order today, and I was really impressed. I mean, of course, don't you taste the white first? Well, a question that just to the north of you in Burgundy, they often taste the whites last.
In Beaujolais too, but a lot of time we have in Beaujolais we have 100 reds to taste and 2 whites. So, but I'm okay with tasting the white first.
So then we're gonna move on to the Beaujolais Village, and then you rattled off the other 4, kind of like. So how often do you taste these wines to know which order would be best? Is it based on each vintage? Is it based on the individual cru? How do you decide? I mean, because I know that Fleurie is usually one of the lighter ones, and Morgon and Moulin à Vent are usually some of the heavier ones. But other than that, is it just from your tasting experience? Or?
Most of the time, we go from lighter bodied to fuller bodied. So that's no news. And typically we'll start with the Beaujolais Village. And then as we go into the crus, from lighter bodied to fuller bodied. And typically ended with the Moulin à Vent. So it's more or less always the same order in the crus, but sometimes we may decide to change a little bit the order. If, for example, a Fleurie sees a little bit of oak aging and we have a cru that we would typically taste after Fleurie, if it's on the lighter side, maybe we decide to switch the 2.
Okay, and how important are whites in the overall portfolio at Duboeuf?
That's part of the DNA of Duboeuf. The whites, actually, it's where the Duboeuf family come from. The Duboeuf family comes from the village of Chintré, which is one of the communes of the Pouilly-Fussé appellation. So we started making wine with Chardonnay and the whites, and only when Georges Duboeuf moved to Beaujolais in the early 1960s, we started making red wine. So we are known for the reds, but actually we started with whites.
And do you make any actual Beaujolais white? I know it's pretty rare in Beaujolais to have some white, but is there any white Beaujolais in the?
We do make some Beaujolais Blanc, but we're not selling it overseas. It's about, I would say, somewhere between 3 to 5% of the production of Beaujolais is white, and we have some actually exceptional terroirs for the whites in Beaujolais, in the south, for example, in the southern part of Beaujolais, in the Golden Stone areas. Some villages have a lot of limestone in the soil, and they make very good whites.